So yeah, this is one of the first ones of these, and there's going to be a couple of which is just 1 minute, because I've said there's also one I've skipped because I don't have the DVD for, I think, 1914. But besides that, this is just a sort of a old war documentary. It's not bad, I'm not saying that entirely. It's just that. Just a documentary that's fun and interesting. I don't know why I have this. I just do. And it is sort of like a film, so I am technically counting it. But it is just a fun sort of like history thing. I don't know how many people have got stuff like this. I don't know, I've got quite a bit. I'm even watching tomorrow another one, but this is just fun and entertaining. I definitely recommend to watch, but I don't think you can find it. It is fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and good night. Yeah, there wasn't much to this, but yeah. Before I do this is very bad and very cheesy, and I don't care. We're all in this together. Yeah, I did this because wolves are pack animals. No other reason, literally none. It's not even a story reason. I just did it for jokes. Yeah, I like this. It's a very fun, interesting story about like having these people with like, because before we say this, Wolf King, the idea of like people turning into wolves, I don't need to tell you that that's a common phenomenon in like fiction work, because that's essentially werewolves. That's what you get when you like be like, describe a werewolf. A man turned to a wolf, and like, that's it. But the one thing that I like is that instead of just being like, and that's it, that's the story done. We've done writing, and we're all gonna go home now. We're all gonna go home. We don't need to do anything else. Don't know why we're all here, but I like the idea that they've got other animals, and with those other animals comes like interesting designs, interesting like battles, and it's a really fun idea. That it starts off with like the wolves, one creature that you would traditionally have as werewolves. I know there are a couple others, but in media they are seen as like one of the biggest turning into animals, and I find it interesting that they were taken down, and lions, who are seen in other media as pretty chill, were like, nah, we deserve power. But I do know Pride has a connection with Lion through Seven Deadly Sins and other stuff, but I like that idea. So yeah. The one thing I like is how it ended sort of lent into the idea of, and there's more, but we're not going to show you yet. So I don't know if they have confirmed this is a season 2. I found this on Netflix and didn't do any research into it. I was like, oh, this looks cool. And that's it. There's a lot of stuff in the like upcoming Netflix, which that's it. It looks cool. So I feel like there is going to be a season 2. And I am hoping there is. But I am excited based on like all of this had like this secretive like trying to go back home and like trying to find certain things, and I like it. And seeing what goes next is really interesting in my opinion. I do like this. I like the overall idea. I like the idea of like shape-shifting like humanoid as like people fighting each other. It's really fun. And how they do it is also fun. And I would think, like, I don't know where they're going to go with this, but it is, in my opinion, definitely going to go with somewhere really fun. And not in this season, I mean even next season, like, seeing where it goes. But this is a fun season, and I definitely recommend. So I hope you enjoy, and good night. So what are you going to do over... Oh, that was the do-over that I needed. So yeah, this is sort of an interesting sort of show, because the overall idea I like, but sort of like over and over again sort of repetitiveness of like that feeling of like doing it over and over again. I said this before, I think I reviewed the previous seasons. and I love it. But overall, one thing that I do, and I will say, my shoulder, is with this, one of the things which I would say is interesting is the battle, because there is a war. It starts off peacefully, and I love that there's a 1 hour first episode, which I love. I didn't realize this until later, but like it's one of the most interesting things, in my opinion. But it's one of the things that's fun, where you get this sort of like more drawn out, like, oh, what's actually happening, and it's fun because of that. I don't know, maybe there's a reason, but I just love it. I love that. I also didn't realize it kind of finished. That's why it's here, and it's like you kind of see this redo, because I'm like, oh, there's probably more episodes to this, and then I'm like, oh no, never mind. I'm an idiot, but this is fun. The one thing I like, and I think it's going to be more to do with ReZero in the future, but something that I feel like is fun, is that looking into these people who are connected to the 7 deadly sins, because they brought them up of like the 3 witches of the 7 deadly sins, and now we have them again, and it's interesting to see, oh, what's actually going to happen. And having them as the main villain in this, I think is really interesting in that sort of idea. And seeing where that goes is fun, as that main focus. I also like the idea that one of them has the thing with the hearts, and they had to do this smart tactic of killing, not really killing, but freezing their hearts enough that you could sort of like defeat him, and it's clever. So I definitely do recommend, and I do think this is really worth to watch. It is fun, definitely, through the redo mechanics. But I hope you enjoy, and good night. So, this has been a while. So yeah, Netflix Marvel series, there's a couple more coming up soon, with the next sort of loop, Disney Plus being the Defenders. Most likely going to be moved back through something else. That's besides the point. Actually, no, it won't. The other one will be moved back. Anyway, I've just distracted myself at this point. I like this series. I really do. I find it really fun and really interesting. And this is a lot different. So, before I say this, I am a person who I like the Marvel series that they have. I like it. I understand why people don't like it. I fully do. But comparing those to these, so I get why you don't like the Marvel. Like, this is really, like, not... There's certain versions, like Loki, brilliant, stand by it. Whereas, like, this and even the one that I have somewhat watched, somewhat not, besides the point, it's brutal, some of the fights. And when they get into it, it is really brutal. And I kind of like it because of that. That sort of brutal nature to it. That sort of like blood, in a way, that you can get in it. This is really violent. And I do like it. I am going to say that because I feel like that's needed. I think I said it in season 1, but I just want to say that. That is also to do with season as well. But the one thing I like about this is this has 2 things. You have the Punisher, his trial, and then you have this sort of like battle with the hand. So, before I do this, I do know that this packs the thing with the Defenders. And besides certain people who are brought up in that, which I can't mention because, one, I think there are other shows that happened before this, which weirdly enough is not on here. Like Luke Cage season 1. I don't know. This is very confusing. I have made this weird. Oh wait, no, yeah, there I found it. There's probably also... No, I'm missing one. Anyway, I can fix that later. But one of the things that I do like about this is sort of it setting it up with the hand, building it up, because this ends in a mysterious way that the Defenders picks back up. But I also like the idea with the trial with the Punisher. And that sort of like the breaking down of the main three, I think is really interesting. And how they sort of like split because of that. Which again impacts the Defenders, obviously. But there's one things that I really, absolutely think is really interesting overall. So yeah, I do think this is really good. And I do like the sort of Netflix series. I am starting to like it. Again, besides a couple of shows with some things, definitely Jessica Jones a bit, like I said before, in Jessica Jones, and a bit in Luke Cage. Wow, that sounded like ages ago from now. Anyway, besides those, I haven't really watched much of these, and I just wanted to like Daredevil Born Again, which I'd like to point out I have already watched, and on the 29th I am going to review, meaning catching up with this became very contradictory because I've already finished Daredevil Born Again. I don't know. I am mostly going to finish it because I mostly already watched it. Kind of, again, stupid reason aside, it is one of the things I find really fun. It is really entertaining, in my opinion. And I hope you enjoy, and good night. It's happened again! No! So I re-recorded because I accidentally did the spoiler part, but... So, this is mostly the same to the original Parent Trap, okay? Let's do the speed run. 3, 2, 1, go! So basically, they go, beat up, do this, do that. Actually, no, why am I doing that as a spoiler section? Da-da! This is why I re-recorded this section. But it is essentially the same movie. It is essentially not entirely the same, but mostly the same. Because it's the same story. Obviously. But because of that, besides a couple of details, it's mostly the same. Do I get this film more than the other? Yes. Because, even though it's here, I'm the person who dealt with these types of landline, which they kind of have with that film. Right? Where the other one has one of those like old-fashioned standing up. Yes, I'll speak into it like this. And there's a couple more things that are more old-fashioned, but that's more small fries. But still, the only things I can say in the non-spoiler section. The other thing is as such. The camping scene, and not the second camping scene, the original camping scene where they meet. I don't know why I hit that. This doesn't matter. It's not connected to anything right now. When they meet, that feels, keyword, feels like that is a little bit longer. While certain other scenes later, like the camping scene later, feels less. I also like the fact that you have, obviously on one side, also one of the grandparents in there, which I find is interesting. Because in the original, it has an original line where it's like the grandmother's sort of like hovering. It's like, and the granddad's like, oh, let it go. They haven't had time for a while. Just let them be by themselves. So it was like, yeah, but I want to. It was like, that's her mother. Just let her have a moment. I'm putting my foot down. Which is the idea of like, she was sort of like, oh no, I want to be there. I want to be there. And it was like, nope, we're just going to let her be. Which is clever. I also like the idea that in this film, the nanny and the butler get together. That doesn't mean anything, I just find that adorable. But they slowly hint towards that, and it's really fun. But yeah, I think this is good. Not as good just as good as the other. Besides that one thing, there's nothing really better or worse. So I hope you enjoy, and good night. Oh no, I was just thinking of writing something. I don't know what to write. I'm trying to think of a script. So having that darkness happen, this I think is a fun sort of show. I don't know if it's based on anything, because there's some shows, this sort of feels like it's, I don't know why, it felt like there was anime of it previously. I don't know why. Maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know why, but I do think it is good. I do sort of enjoy this. Sorry, I'm still transferring a clip. But I do think it's really good and really fun overall with what it does and what it is. I think it is creative and insane, but overall just amazing with what it is. So with this, one of the major things is the sort of Pavlovian dog, and sort of like doing certain tricks to sort of try and make sure that I don't accidentally, but having these sort of things that makes like people who are less physically strong be able to overcome certain things by doing these sort of like mind games, which is fun, clever, and interesting. Of like, oh, how are they going to like outthink this? How are they going to outsolve this? A lot of it is dark and manipulation, including the thing that I hinted to at the beginning as a dark joke. It does have that sort of like... and Pavlovian's dog is an actual thing. I don't know if anyone knows too much about that. I love it. It's like learned helplessness, and it's really dark. But it's really interesting. But, yeah. I don't have much to say. This is fun. Go and watch it. That's really it. It is really fun. So I hope you enjoy, and good night. I have no intros to this. I'll put this in because this is a wild thing. So, yeah. This is not going to be that long because besides one moment, which is a joke, and isn't really spoilery for the content, but it's the only thing I can fit in the spoiler section. This could be even less than 2 minutes. This is good. It's a fun type of, like, one person who has this, like, oh, everyone finds me, like, amazing, and one person doesn't. And it's fun because of that. And that's it. It is fun, and it is interesting. I don't know, it's just fun. The one thing that I do like about it, spoiler-wise, and I do find it hilarious, is there's a moment where it's like, oh no, I'm lost from the group, and then all of a sudden there's a crowd of people comes in, one person with a phone, drops some water, and then you have the other person, the two people, these two, this person, and then this person, oh, why don't I call them? The same group comes, his phone, and like, well, isn't that coincidence? Yeah, it's just insane, and I just like that weird kind of cutaway joke, but I don't know. Again, I watched this because it looked insane, but overall it is fun. But overall, I don't have much to talk about it. I'm not really a person who likes romance. Besides really dark ones, and besides my constant gripes on, you know, the obvious one to be annoyed with, the obvious two franchises, romance-wise, to be annoyed with, which is, say it with me, Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, for the respective reasons. And I don't need to tell you, a lot of people have already made that point absolutely clear. But overall, I can't say anything new. So I'm not. I can't add anything, so I'm just not. It is fun. That's it. Watch it. Can't say much else. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good night.